almost ready. I'll talk a little.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and blessings. You have surfed in or tuned in, those of you that are listening by phone, to Awakenings. And that was Elements of Grace by Dyan Garris, who actually today is also going to be our awakened guest. Awakenings features interviews with spiritual teachers, healers, guests, conscious beings, and peoples of all walks of life who are awakening or are awake already and integrating this into their everyday living. Really important now that in this awakening state of consciousness that everyone is going through at different forms and levels is that you begin living this way, that you begin living your awakened state in your everyday living. And we at Awakenings are here to support you in doing this, help you in doing this, and share. How are you living awake? How are you creating your own new paradigm that fits in with the emerging paradigm? And that's what we're doing here, everyone. We're shifting paradigms. There's a paradigm shift, and it's like the train, the plane, the subway has left. The Learjet has left, and are you on that? Are you on your own ride and creating that abundance, that awareness that not only is timely, but is yours from a soul perspective? And what does that mean? That means that on a soul level, we're moving into the space from body, mind, spirit into integrating the soul. Everyone is encoded with their own divine imprint, their own divine plan, their own divine unfolding. And within that is abundance in all its forms, all its shapes. And we're going to dive in today because to me, we have a lady on, an amazing spiritual being that has been living that paradigm. And she's going to be sharing with you a bit of her journey, her awakenings, and how she taps into living this new paradigm. You know, many of us are doing this already, but it's about getting more people on board living this way so it becomes mainstream, not just the fringe. And to me, our guest also very creative. I mean, she allows that creative channel to be open. Many of you know of Dyan Garris from The Voice of Angels. Amazing website. Actually, that's how I flowed into her, synchronistic timing, and she was so kind to come on the show. So let me just tell you a little bit for those of you that may not be aware of our guest. Dyan Garris, she actually writes an inspirational daily channeled message, which is on her website, voiceofangels.com. She is a very accomplished musician, all-around artist, all-around creative channel. The intro song that we've been playing of late, Elements of Grace, is by Dyan. And Dyan has been counseling clients in order to help them move forward in their lives. And she's a clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient. She's actually taught many people how to use this power and energy contained in their chakras to unblock the energetic field, which you need to do that to manifest and co-create. Right now, Dyan is focused on manifestation therapy. And this manifestation therapy she has created to empower others to co-create a fulfilling life. She is also the author of Money and Manifestation. So with that, I want to give a warm, awakening virtual hug to Dyan Garris. Hi, Dyan.
Oh, my gosh, I feel it.
You feel good.
Thank you.
And the chat's giving you hugs, too. Everyone in the chat is already that's here is giving hugs also. wonderful to have you. And Dyan, I got to tell you, so timely. That we're, meeting today here on the part of the converging flow that is awakenings. Is that with everything dismantling, which it needs to, right? This Pluto and Capricorn, the dismantling is the opportune time for people to be really focused on creation and co-creation. So I really find it synchronistic in timing that we're blessed to have you on Awakening. So.
Oh, thank you. I really feel blessed to be here, and I know you and I connected through voiceoftheangels.com, and thank you for having me. And you're right that everything appears to be dismantling, and I really feel like that is the operative word. It appears to be dismantling, but truly what's dismantling here is our own illusions of what we've created.
Beautiful. That is it.
Yeah, that is it.
That is it. And that to me is the new paradigm, that there has been this illusion or this apparency, a lot of limitation. I was in a meeting the other night, and I was amazed at it's for a new product, and that the idea of the lack of limitation, if people don't see it, if people aren't seeing what it is they want to co-create or what they want to draw in, they may be looking around and don't see it, but you and I both know that it's in the ether somewhere. If you have that idea, right?
Well, yes, but
it's there. Right, and I'm sure for you too, with your composing, the actual CD or the music may not be yet there in paper, or the music, but you have an idea, right? Or you receive an idea in your mind.
Okay, well here, let's back up a minute, because when you say about ideas and so forth and so on, you see, what's being really taught with the law of attraction at the moment is that we create with our minds, and this is just not so, and this is what I'm...
It's energy. Yeah.
Well, it's more than that, darling.
Let's go into
what it is. We do not create from the mind chakra. If we want to talk about how... Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. Go on.
If we are biologically designed to create with our root chakra, and the mind chakra does have to engage as well, but that comes later. If you think about the biological functions of our physical bodies here, we create from the root. This is what we're designed to do. And then, you see, there's a fallacy out there about the chakra number 2 is the chakra of creation, but that's not so. This is where we house the creation, and that goes also for men and women, The second chakra would be located in the pelvic area, the womb-like area, but people often don't really understand the function of the root chakra. So now when we have the law of attractions being taught. Let's think about it. Let's positive think it. No, people. No, we create from the root, and we connect all of the chakras up, the energy from all the chakras up. And then when we have the passion for it and the communication for it and so on, then we visualize it more and more and more. And then we put those nice things that we've been taught about the law of attraction onto that. But yes, creation does start with an intention. Yes, that starts in the mind. And then we must now create from the root. We cannot possibly create from the mind. That's just not the whole deal. So this is the problem with what's going on with creation right now. Okay. So does it make sense?
Yeah. We're going to back up a little bit and get into the chakras, the energy centers, and how and maybe now is right to do it. How you're drawing in your creations from that aspect, whether it's the book, whether it's your music, or your other outlets. I want to tap in a little bit to your creative process on that.
Okay, and I know you asked me about, how does this music come about, and I didn't answer it a minute ago, but here, I hear the music before I bring it in. So I actually hear it as an entire song, and I've done this whole CD series about, with this music, where I've actually heard the music. I hear these angels, singing, or I hear this music already as a whole entire song, and then I bring it in, and it's my job to try to translate that, and I do my best. Every chakra and every energy center on our body has a particular note that it resonates with, which will open that particular chakra. That's basic sound healing 101. Now, if you take several notes and you make them into a song, and you know that resonates or opens to a particular chakra, then now you have methods that goes kind of beyond what our concept of sound healing has been.
Mm-hmm.
We could say, okay, we know chakra 1 resonates to this syllable and this note, and then we say chakra 2 and so on and so forth. They resonate to a particular note. But now what about a whole song? And you see, music really works on an emotional level. It doesn't work on our...
Let's see at the conference. Let me just see, and that's putting you on hold. Okay, I am now putting the call out for all you Blog Talk Radio people, especially in the chat of the higher vibrational frequency, to please design the software, the technology that can handle the vibrational shifts that are happening right now. So there you go. There's a new form to be putting in. So I'm just doing it all over right now. Just kicking out the old and calling Dyan, and hopefully she picks up.
There you go.
Hey, lady, that's it, okay? So that's the next creation in form. We've gotten rid of magnetic tape, or as much as we can. So
we're done with that.
So what about we need new software, new technology to handle the higher vibrational frequencies.
You're right. You're absolutely right. How funny.
Yeah, so, any programmers in the chat or on the line, anybody listening, and make sure when you're developing your software that you do an expanded meditation of some sort or alignment so it's infused with the higher vibrational frequency. Dyan, okay, so the angels are here, everything's rocking and a-rolling. And everybody in the chat, yay, I have sound, yeah. Oh, I was seeing it happen, believe me. Then when I went to one line, Dyan was gone. And then when I got her, the chat was gone.
Oh, my goodness.
I got to tell you, that's not ever happened, so that's a first. That was an interesting interplay, and I don't even know how it happened, but it did. And you were talking about the root. You were talking about, energy and manifestation, and that's when it happened.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I can go back over that. Would you like me to?
Yeah, would you? Because, it's very interesting.
Well, I think it was for your ears only, Michelle.
Everyone, it was a great, amazing, a lot of great inside information. Just trust me.
Okay, well, so here, let's back up a little. We were talking about the law of attraction and the way that we create things. And I was saying that we are being taught at this moment that the law of attraction is the way to create. And the problem with this is that the law of attraction is for attraction. It's not for manifesting or co-creating. And the law of attraction is teaching people to create, that we create from our minds, but we do not create from our minds. We biologically are designed to create from the root. And so everybody that has ever thought about, let's just use this as an example, think about we want to create a child. Well, we have an intention in our mind, perhaps, or we have a thought in our mind about a child, and then we must engage the root. We cannot create a child from our brain. We have to turn around and change positions.
That's right.
Right.
You bring a good point, Dyan. That's a very good point. Not yet have we been able to create babies by the mind.
Right. And so people that are having trouble with their law of attraction at the moment, you have to understand something. We just can think that the most positive things we want, in other words, think all you want about having a child is not going to show up without engaging the root. And so when we talk about how do I engage the roots, you hear me and you understand, okay, I can't make this with my mind. Mm-hmm. We have to first clear out the issues of the first chakra. And to do this, we have to really understand what kinds of issues reside in the root chakra and what kinds of issues reside in the second chakra and third and fourth and so on, because in order to co-create, everybody needs to get this. We have to connect up the energy from all of the chakras, and then it gets up into the mind, then it goes up through the crown chakra, then it goes up out to the universe, then is when it comes back as form made manifest. It doesn't. You can think all you want in your mind, and then you can send it out. And yes, you will have limited success with this because it is a universal law of attraction, universal law. It is made for attraction, but this is not co-creating.
Yeah.
This is not manifesting.
I'm so glad you said when you sent me your book, which, by the way, everyone, I read. I love it. I love the
Money and Manifesting?
Money and Manifesting, and I love the format of the book, too. It was great. It was a great read. I just read it right through, maybe 2 days. Part of it because the way you laid it out, the story within it, but also you have the principles, which is great. But I loved also what you were saying, and I think it just did it again. Diane, are you still there? It just did it again. Okay. This is really something with this vibrational frequency. Anyway, I loved what Diane was saying about that manifesting is not the same as co-creating or creating, and that essentially we are creative or co-creative beings. Let's see. Back.
Hello.
I got to say something. You may have to call in, but I got to say something. There's something energetically. Every time we're talking about the creation and the root, this is happening.
You know, you're right. You're right. You're right. Well, okay, if it happens again, I'll call you.
Yeah, but every time, because I was saying about when I read your book, Money and Manifesting, not only do I like the principles that you have in there, but that you weave it into the story. And then I was about to talk about how you say about the creating from the root, and that manifesting and attracting is much different. I mean, we're always, we're attracting all the time. I mean, attracting doesn't necessarily get you to build your life or manifest what you want. They're two different principles. And your book was the first book that I had read that was saying this. And then it was also talking about, that's why I was like so excited. I knew there was a synchronistic connection here.
I agree.
And I think that's why so many people are having trouble manifesting, is because they're trying to will something to happen or thinking positive thoughts, but obviously if you're not really feeling that and your energetic level or beingness isn't that, that's not going to necessarily work either. It's like trying to just, I mean, that's a part of it, the will and the intention, as you said, but that really is not like you said, the wrong end. It's not focused.
Right. It's not. The law of attraction is filtered in the mass consciousness and was resurrected for the purpose of getting us to understand that this is part of the co-creation process, but is so not the whole process. And what I find at the moment is that the people are teaching and being taught still, well, yes, let's set goals and let's write it down and let's put more energy on it and let's set intentions. These processes are still coming from the mind, and that's the problem with them. Mm-hmm. And this is why you can set all the goals you want. You're still doing this from the mind. So to fully integrate, because this is what is needed for manifesting, we must fully integrate mind, body, and spirit. It's not so hard. So I've done this automatically in Money and Manifesting, because when you go from the fiction, the story that's weaved around the information, your fiction is processed with one part of the psyche, and information is processed with another part of the psyche. So when you are going back and forth between fiction and nonfiction, your brain and your whole being is actually being kind of taken through an exercise of already automatic shift. Wait a minute, I have to shift from fiction, now I have to shift into to chakra balance and energy 101, and okay, but the story is cohesive throughout, and if you follow the story, it's a good story, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great story. The ending, I'm not going to tell you guys, but the ending is great. Oh my God, the way it's a great book.
Well, I could tell you.
I get a lot of books. Believe me, I've been doing this show on Blog Talk just since July, but I've been doing it for a year, so I get a lot of books on another station, and music. And yours, I mean, was cover to cover. It was like, and it was light, so you wanted to read it. The story really engaged. It was very engaging.
Well, thank you. It is light, but yet it's heavy because But see, my goal really with that is, as I was saying, is that it's automatic. You don't even realize that you're being kind of led into this automatic shift.
Yeah.
And when you close the book, it's like, wait a minute, what was that? And I have people that are reading it and rereading it, and they're going, oh, okay, wait, I get it. But I do find when some people read the book, and you know what, invariably, wherever you stop, you're blocked. That's where your block is. And I find it amazing that you said to me, I read it cover to cover. Well, that's fabulous, Michele, because you're not blocked.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yes. And I could tell you a couple stories about this book, but I don't want to digress, but really just kind of briefly say that I've written several books, but I've never written fictional characters. And when we're co-creating, we learn to kind of just follow the directions. And I've been following the directions since ever I can remember. So Spirit said to me, okay, write these characters. And I said, you got to be kidding. I've never written a character in my life. What are these people going to do? And see, the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is what people do. They obsess about, okay, what comes next, and so on and so forth. And this is where we get stuck. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, all right. Spirit said, don't worry about what they're going to do. Just write it. Write the characters, and we're going to weave this all together. Great. Mm-hmm. So I'm writing these characters, and I didn't write the whole story. I didn't even know the ending. So I wrote the character. No.
Oh my God.
No, I had no idea. And I have Voice of the Angels, the Healing Journey spiritual cards, but they're not tarot cards, and I won't spoil it for anybody. But so I'm writing these characters, and I had no idea how they're going to interact at all. I just wrote the characters. And then I followed directions with Spirit, and Spirit said, okay, now this, now that, now this. Okay, fine. So I'm entering my information that I'm really good with nonfiction, and I'm writing the characters, and then we get to the end there, and again, I won't spoil the story, but there's a tarot card involved, and I had to look up this tarot card. I heard it in my head, whatever the tarot card was, and I looked it up, and I go, oh my goodness, these people are already engaged in the scene that's already on this tarot card. I'm hearing in my head, and I just thought, oh wow, that was like really amazing to me because I had no idea what this meant, and it meant exactly what they were. That scene on the beach where these two characters are having this interaction. And so I finished the book, I finished writing it, and I started laughing out loud because I was like, oh my goodness, is this not God's perfect thing here? And I just roared. It just made me laugh. So I couldn't, what I want the message to be for people is this. We can sit there and think about the way we want things to be and the way we think we're going to create them, and it's just not going to be that way if you're really following Spirit's plan for you. You have to be willing and open to do it the way that's being presented, even if you do not know why. I think that was like my whole message for everybody here today. You may not see why. But if you just are willing to kind of get yourself out of the way, get out of your own way, and just go with what information is being presented to you, you're going to end up with a really good story yourself.
And even your life story, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Your life story. Yeah. What do you think could help people to be able to do that more? Because I think it's interesting when you're almost, I'm like thinking, should I mention the root again? Are we going to have another?
Well, if we do, we have a plan, right?
Okay, we have a plan. Yeah, we're really, obviously we're shaking up something here, speaking this.
Yeah.
But people have been so indoctrinated to, use the mind, not get into the feeling of something or the subtle energy. How can someone undo that? How could those people that are listening undo that over focus of, the mental plane?
Okay, well, number one would happen on a kind of intellectual level. It's like, okay, wait, look and go, LOA, hey, it's not cutting it, and by itself. And law of attraction is for attracting, and this is the very first thing you get. And I always tell people we have to start at the very base. So at a very base level, just try to understand that the law of attraction is not the whole ball of wax. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we create from the root. So okay, great. Get that firmly in your consciousness. We create from the root. And if you as we said before, you're thinking about it, we do create. Our right of creation, our birth, comes through the root. So, okay, we know this as truth. So integrate that as truth. And go, okay, wait, I need to integrate. I need to create from my root. Now, here's where people get stuck. How do I do that? Okay, great. Understand what energy resides in your root chakra, the energy of family, the energy of tribe, the energy of money as it relates to self-worth, the energy of addiction. These are a few of the things that reside there, okay?
In the root.
Yes, in
the
root. Okay, so one would have to intellectually go back and then also emotionally go back and also spiritually go back to, you see, you did not come in here, you were not born with some idea about money.
Yeah.
What baby knows about money? You just don't.
Yeah.
This was taught to you. So what I'm saying to people is this. Look at what you were taught about money and how that got stuck in your root chakra in terms of your family unit, in terms of the people that you incarnated with, and their patterns about money and their ideas about money and how they were taught about money and how it relates to so forth and so on. When you can identify the patterns and you can identify what you were taught, now you have the platform to change all that. But until you really get to, okay, my parents had this idea and this is what they taught me, you can't really change it until you really you have to understand what you were taught.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Right.
Woo! I got a gong on that. That is the truth.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God. Woo! Because so many people are skipping that step.
Right.
They're like trying to lay down tracks over this muddy, clear, clean tracks over this, muddy tracks or muddled tracks. So yeah, you've got to go back. You've got to. And I love what you say, Dyan, that we didn't come in this way. We didn't come in with an idea about money or lack or what we could have or couldn't have. All of that was programmed.
Right. It was taught. And I do want to say this about what is taught to us, okay? We all need to really get that. Let's say, we can look at our parents who bought a new car every year or whatever and say, well, that was really materialistic. But look at that person's learning, okay? Take it as far back as you can and then look at what that taught you in terms of lessons in love. Don't look at that and go, oh, that was wrong.
Yeah.
Look at it like, okay, wait, that got me where I am right now, so there has to be a reason. But dissect it all in terms of what you were taught. When you were a baby, you came in as pure love with your crown chakra open and loving, and that's all you knew.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is taught. But people incarnate into groups, tribes, families, for particular reasons, to learn things, to learn lessons that are about love. It's not about, I incarnated into this family and they're defective and they taught me blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's not that. If you have to look at them with compassion and go, okay, they taught me what they were taught.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all they knew, and that's what we're taught. And now our task right now, when you talk about shifting paradigms and we go into ascension, which is what we're on the brink of, is that we all need to look at what we were taught. And then you decide, not just with your mind, but with your mind, body, spirit. Is this truth? Do I take this teaching in as truth, or do I say, wait a minute, I understand it, why you taught me what you did about money and so forth and so on, but I don't really think that's true for me. So let me get rid of the fear, let me get rid of what's holding me back from going out and co-creating what I want, but thank you, I bless you, I release you, thank you for teaching me this. But it's not my truth. And that's where we need to go with all of this. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so in alignment with what you're saying here. And I find, and do you find this, Dyan, anyway, whatever the patterning that was taught to us, even if it was the most horrendous or horrible, there's still something there that's beneficial to be salvaged.
Lessons in love, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And to me, like what you're saying, just take that, but now, we can uncreate that by just even ask, is this true for me? And then again, get support, because I know you have the manifesting therapy also, which I'm a big proponent, and people that have been listening to Awakenings, cruising here, I'm really big on inner work. Whatever it is, now's the time. Get the support to help move you through the patterning, because we help co-create or create the patterning to survive, so we can we can uncreate it. We can change our mind and say, like you're saying, though, it has to be on the, not just mental, it has to be the emotional, spiritual, body, mind, spirit, however you want to put it. But you can uncreate the pattern and put in a pattern that reflects your truth.
Yes, and I think it's very important, Melissa, to understand this. Okay, we say we can uncreate it with our mind. You have to, just like the creative process, when you're uncreating, you have to not only uncreate with your mind,
right,
but you also have to uncreate with your mind, body, spirit.
That's what I said. Yeah, mind, body, spirit has to be holistic. You have to get back. Otherwise, and I'm not sure with your background, but I can say as a trained in counseling and hypnotherapy, I will definitely tell you, people that do not get past the mind in creating, in the intellect in uncreating patterns, don't really uncreate them.
You're right. You know what? You're right. You're right.
I don't care how many Post-it notes you put up, it's not going to.
You're so right, and so therefore we can look at that in the same way with creating. Okay, and you know what? I'm going to send this to you, and I don't know if you have it, but I have this as an MP3. I did a meditation which is called The Magic of Manifesting, and it's downloadable on my site.
Okay. Which one?
I'm gonna send it to you. Oh, voiceoftheangels.com.
Okay, I've been putting that in the chat. I'll put it again. So the MP3 is on there?
Yes, and it's called The Magic of Manifesting, and it's on voiceoftheangels.com. But here, in the meditation is this: we actually learn to uncreate. And I'm going to send it to you because I think it might help your clients. We meet with our angel. We learn to incorporate the law of attraction as one part of the process. Our angel shows us exactly what to do. We create then in that meditation, we begin to create the painting of our life. And if you think about this too, when you're very small, one of the very first things you learn to do is to create, right? We learn to paint, we learn to finger paint, we learn to make things and with blocks and so on and so forth. We are taught to create. And our parents are very happy when we're creating. But then all of a sudden, something shifts there and we're taught to not do that anymore. So this meditation kind of takes people back to the place where we learned to create. And then your angel will come, you will meet your angel, you learn the name of your angel there, and then you learn to co-create all over again. And it's very powerful. So it's a little longer than my other meditations. It's 23 minutes, but you come out of it just going, oh, I get it. And I think it really helps people. So,
now, Dyan, do you think, because talking about the first chakra that's, where we're manifesting, is one of a couple of the blocks anything to do with fear or safety? I know you mentioned fear, but also what about feeling safe?
Yes, fear and safety reside in the root chakra, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, very primal. And anything primal, anything that you can identify as really primal and base, the root chakra is our base chakra. And I do want to clear up a little misconception, too, about the root chakra, because a lot of people think that they get the second chakra mixed up with the first chakra, and they'll say, oh, I have lower back pain, and that's my first chakra. No, that's not it. The first chakra is, excuse me, it runs down from, straight down into the ground from the genital area. It goes straight down from there. And then the second chakra is in the pelvic area. And some of this misinformation, I'm sorry, this has been taught for years, and I really...
No, it's just great. No, it's great to go over this.
Well, the thing that's been taught for years is that we create from the second chakra because it's the seat of the womb, basically. And so what's been taught in Eastern thought, I guess, because I don't want to take on the whole Eastern culture, but truly, we do not create from the womb area. We create from the first chakra, and then it moves up into the womb area. And then men might say, what about me? It's the same thing. You don't have a womb there, but you have a chakra that is designed to house your creations. And you see a lot of men with low back pain.
Mm-hmm, you do.
Yeah, it's because of that. It's like, wait a minute, they've been taught to kind of say, okay, well, we don't have a second chakra, or we don't have this womb, so how do we create? And men actually learned then to create with their minds. And if you think about, if you look at the people that are most successful with the law of attraction, it's men.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I have.
Right. Well,
yeah.
That's why. They've been taught to kind of bypass everything else and kind of create with their minds. But if you think about men and culturally what they've been taught, and I'm generalizing, okay, but generally men are okay with having their root chakra open, whereas women have been culturally taught to keep that closed. Close that up, close that right up. You see, it's not ladylike or whatever. And so you have women who go, I don't know how to create, and I'm not being taught to really use my mind to create. And so I have this womb here, and so I'm trying to birth this thing that never gets birthed. So you have a lot of women with a lot of frustration, creative energy that's sitting there in the second chakra, in the womb area, and it never comes out. It never gets manifest. And they say, well, how do I do that?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really know. So then they say, logically, well, wait, all I need is passion. So they kind of move that second chakra energy up to try to meet with passion. Then you end up with women that have a passion for their work, but they're not making any money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now what's missing? Number one, both sexes are missing kind of the middle of this, the solar plexus chakra, because everything has to go up through that. That's the gut intuition and so on. Now we're finding a lot of men are reconnecting with their intuition. That's why, because they're actually kind of getting that we have to, kind of move everything up. So women kind of start at the drawing board. Be okay with going through the root chakra, going, okay, what's the deal with this? Where am I afraid? What's the tribal stuff here? Then move it up to second chakra. You're as creative as all get out, but we don't know how to birth it. So we're having women you can notice just on an earthly plane, we have a lot more women having C-sections. Kind of like, get this thing out of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It gets stuck there. The energy gets stuck. We don't know anymore how to kind of just birth a thing out the root chakra. But anyway, so moving it on up, then we have women and men connecting in the center, and the center of their being is the solar plexus chakra. And then we have lots of passion still, but now we have to move that up into the communicative chakra, which is the fifth chakra, throat chakra. You have to get it. How do we get it out to the world? And then move it, then just keep on moving it up through. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Now, one person saying, maybe we need to backtrack on this about the mind. So, in a sense, Dyan, are you saying, in a way, when we're creating something, is it more with a subtle energy or feeling? I mean, not necessarily emotion yet, but a feeling of something or a sensing first?
Well, here's how it really goes. If we have to identify it, the mind will kind of get an idea or set an intention.
Mm-hmm.
So something is there starting in the mind. In other words, if we're getting kind of an inkling, I think I want to have a child, or I want to go into this business, or like that. That starts kind of in the mind as an idea. The purpose of that is for setting an intention to the universe.
Right.
Then is where people kind of get into trouble because they get stuck in the mind.
They stay there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to then take that intention, and then it's a seed, right? Mm-hmm. Seeds get planted in the ground, do they not?
Right.
Right. So we take the seed that we, bought at the store or we thought about or whatever, right? And now we unwrap the package and we plant the thing in the ground. Then we water it, and we can still put energy from our mind on it while we're watering it, right? That's that talking to your plants kind of a vibe, mm-hmm. And you can visualize it growing and so on. But the step that people really forget is they haven't planted the seed in the ground.
Yeah, the grounding. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, Lola. So we had a question. Now she's saying now she sees how it connects in. So you have the idea in the mind, but you're not creating from the mind. You can't will it to happen. You've got to ground it and nurture it, right?
Open the package, take the seed out, plant it in the ground, and if there's something in the ground that is prohibiting the growing of this seedling, then you have to, add new dirt, or you have to till the soil, or you have to water it, or give it fertilizer, or whatever. But basically, you have to clear a space for the seed that you now planted in the ground. You see, then you can nurture it. Then you can put energy on it. Then you can say, I picture you as this great big, beanstalk that I'm going to climb up and get the golden thing. You know what I'm saying? You have to.
Absolutely.
You have to first. It's a step that's missing. It's a missing thing. You can think about the seed all day long. I go to the store, I buy a package of seeds. I look at it on my desk all day long, and it's still a package of seeds. It hasn't gone anywhere. I haven't done anything with it. And I sit there and I go, I put all the energy I want on this thing, package of seeds, and I'm still 6 months later, it's still a package of seeds sitting on my desk.
Right.
Or then people go, okay, great. I'm going to take the package of seeds wrapped up, and I'm going to plant it in the ground. No. You actually have to open the package and put those in. So it's like you have to actually do something other than just go, I bought a package of seeds, and I'm going to stick that in the ground. It's going to grow and grow. Unwrap it first. That means get to the root of your issues. Unwrap it, right?
Yes. One thing I'm thinking, and I do see someone's on the line, and we will get right to you, caller. I like what you said, get the root of the issues. One thing I think to remember, too, is by the time something is a thought or an idea, it's already taking some kind of form. And that before that is a subtle energy. Like conception, a lot of times you talk to people, they'll say before they conceived that they had a feeling. They knew something felt different.
Agreement.
Yeah.
Agreement. Yeah. It's agreement on the etheric level.
There we go.
To co-create a creation. And that agreement has, we could, that's a whole other show, but that agreement is already there in place. It's just on a soul level. And by the time you bring that into your mind, it's something that you already know about.
Yes. That's to me why the soul is so important to people to not only co-create but manifest their idea in the mind of God, if you will, that's right for them on a soul level, because that's what will really take, to use your word, Dyan, seed. That will really seed,
Right. It's true. But yeah, you'll find in all your co-creations that you were kind of born to do this. I mean, I know that I was born to make this spiritual toolbox. I know that. This is my mission. I on some level, and you say a subtle energy, I know that. And anyone that's had a child can say, I had an idea of you, or I saw you in a dream, or I call it in psychic reading, it's a child knocking. It's a child that you already know. It's a soul that you know, that you agreed to host. But then you can say, like, say a person could have dreams of a certain person or a child, or even soulmates. Like they say, I'm dreaming of this person, but I don't know them. You have an agreement to meet this person, and however you have conducted yourself with your choices on this planet, it really leads you away or to that person. So you can have dreams about it, and you know it's supposed to happen, and you say, where is that? Well, go back and study your choices that have led you to where you are now. And then you can figure out from there why hasn't that shown up and so on. But it will if once you get out of your own way. Mm-hmm. I mean, you get asked a lot of times, where is my soulmate? I'm dreaming of this person. Where is this? Well, how are you in your own way? Or, maybe that person's choices got in their way of meeting you. But it shall happen. It's there, but you all have to kind of,
But it could be delayed by what I'm hearing, by your choices is what I'm hearing.
Right. We make our choice. The greatest gift we have is free will, and people really seem to not want that.
I know.
It's such a great thing. But they don't want to say, what do you mean by free will?
Yeah. They don't want to be responsible, Dyan. It's
I know.
Let's see who's on the line here.
Okay.
Hi, 510-355. You're on Awakening.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. This is Amber. I was actually calling to just listen.
Okay, that's great, Amber. Welcome to Awakening.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. Okay. I always like to check. I don't want to be rude. I want to keep my, hosty etiquette here.
You're a great host. You were born to do this.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, I do. Yeah, I agree. And so and what I saw, on your site, Dyan, and your books that you have out, the CDs, I see that in you. I get that in you. And to me, that's the next level for the masses, and probably what you were actually came here to do is to help others to be able to access this within themselves and live this way,
Well, here, let's take it a few steps further, and we can say that on one level. Yes,
okay.
And that's right. But if we look at what I've built, and we say the spiritual toolbox, and what I've really created and co-created, it certainly wasn't done by me alone, is that this I have made its own little microcosm of a model. The whole spiritual toolbox is a model for co-creation. And, for example, if we take the Voice of the Angels, the Healing Journey spiritual cards, these were the Voice of the Angels, the Healing Journey spiritual cards, along with the journal and the companion CD. These are the trinity of things that form the foundation of the spiritual toolbox. And everything that came after that was built upon that trinity. Now, we could say, what is so different about these particular products? The thing is that these are not disjointed products, just as human beings are not separate, even though they look separate, they're in their own separate containers. We're all part of one. So what I built is all part of the one. So let's say, for example, one of the CDs, the first CD in the series, the Healing Journey CD, this vibrates to the chakra number 1, but it also is a journey through all of the chakras. And then all of the CDs are made to vibrate to a specific chakra, but also at the same time vibrating to all of the chakras. And so on and so forth throughout all of the products, all of them. They're all interrelated. They're all built on one another. I mean, you could take the Voice of the Angels cookbook, it's a Talk to Your Food, intuitive cooking. You say, how does that relate? How are these cousins? Are they brothers? Are they? The thing is that cookbook is not just a cookbook. It's a way, it teaches you automatically, again, a way to take something really base, something at the foundation, such as food, because food is very root chakra, it's for survival, and transform that into something that's nourishing you mind, body, spirit-wise, rather than just sticking McDonald's hamburger or what have you into your face. You know, you're making this thing and you're learning to talk to your food and make it into something that makes you whole. So everything was built for a reason, and everything interrelates, and a person can come in and go, well, you know, I have people that get very attached to doing things in order, okay? And I say, no, that's why I didn't number the CDs. Your spirit, your intuition will tell you what to connect with, and will tell you exactly what you need at a specific time. So anybody can come in there and take one product, and it's all, remember, it's all set up to shift you automatically, okay?
So they're all interweaving.
Yes,
yes.
Just as we are. I built a little microcosm of humanity here. So I mean, I could tell you things, but we don't have that time. But yes, I think we're running out of time, aren't we? Only an hour here.
Actually, hour and a half.
Oh, great. Okay. So
now, someone's mentioning about wanting to manifest something. So would you suggest, if people wanted, let's say this person talking about a car for her daughter?
Yes.
What, in your mind, just to run through, what would be the cycle for that?
Okay, number one, we're talking about a car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have to say, okay, wait, I'm reading in the chat room. My daughter wants to manifest a car. She's in college, has a job, and the buses do not run. Okay, great. Okay, so here, she has to do, so they're both trying to do this from their mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's what I think when you're saying.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So here, a car is very base, and you say, well, how do we get this car? I think number one is this. We get this in our mind. We need a car. Mm-hmm. We need a car for this girl, right? Mm-hmm. Now, you create this. One of the big things that people don't get in manifesting is that we also have to let go, and that's the purpose of that crown chakra. So you can put it out there that we need this car, and now you have to trust that the car is going to show up. I mean, this is obviously not something that they can create. They can't go in their garage and make a car, right?
Right.
So it's a little bit different than what we're talking about, because yes, it's manifesting, but it's also kind of a form of prayer and using the kind of letting go. It's a little different process with this car, okay? So here, you have to put that out there and then go, okay, I visualize the car. Yes, you have to visualize the car. But now you have to, there's a big part of this, you have to understand that the car is going to show up. Mm. And this is where people get stuck as well. It's like, wait a minute, I have to keep putting energy on this and keep putting it on there, it won't show up. No, you already put it out. Yeah.
So part of what I'm hearing too, we don't, in what you're saying with the letting it go to the crown chakra, is we don't know how it will manifest. It could be borrowing somebody's car, it could be an old car, it could be money for a car.
Right. But if you're attached to the way that's going to show up, mm-hmm. you're in your own way. Mm-hmm. You say, just like you said, you threw out all these alternatives. You say it could be this way or that way or the other. But if we're just sitting there focusing on we need this car, we need it to show up the way we need it to show up, you're in your way. Mm-hmm. So put it out there and know, you have to know that it already is. And this is a big thing for people.
Yeah.
Do you remember the balloon imagery that I had in there in Money and Manifesting?
Yes. Yeah.
about the relationship and where you tie the balloon to your finger and go. Do you want me to say about?
Yeah,
this?
You want to say it? Yeah, you want to over it. So
it really fits here. Okay, I think. Let's say we're trying to manifest a relationship, or let's call it the car. Okay, so we take a balloon, we fill it with helium, we write on the balloon what we want, relationship. Now, tie the balloon to your finger, your ring finger, because that's our symbol for a relationship, right? And now you have a relationship. Mm. Now try to get dressed. That you're going to find that the balloon is in your way, right? Mm. And so So most people at this point will go, okay, yes, the balloons are in my way. I have to get rid of this. So I have to let go of control. I mean, in our mind, we know we have to let go. All right, so we take the balloon off our finger and we let it go, but we let it go into the confines of our house in a particular room. And now we're watching it. And we're telling the balloon what to do, and there's the balloon floating on the ceiling. Our relationship is now up there. We think we've let it go, but it's in our house. It's just still there. It can't go anyplace. It cannot come back to us as form made manifest. This is still a balloon with relationship written on it, sitting in our house, floating around the ceiling. While we're going, why isn't this coming back? Why isn't this showing up? It's still a balloon. So what we have to do is this. We have to let go. And this is, I think, my best illustration for letting go. Get the balloon that was, in your way, and you're now trying to tell it what to do, and it's not doing anything. Take it outside and let it go. And let it go. Instead of being a balloon that has the word relationship written on it, now you've made room for a real relationship to come in. You let it go. Now go to the store or whatever, go outside, and now you'll meet somebody new because you let it go. Then the balloon can return to you as not a balloon that hits you in the face on its way down as a deflated piece of rubber, because a lot of people have that mentality, right? Mm-hmm. This is, great, I let it go, and I don't believe that it's going to come back, and then they fully expect that this thing is going to come back and hit them in the face. We have a lot of that going on. So they don't believe that it's going to be a real relationship. But instead of thinking all that, just please go about your business in the relationship. The real one will show up. And so it's the same thing with the car. It's the same thing. If you're really sitting there going, I must have a car, I must have a blue car, I must have this, you're making these parameters. Now you're sitting there telling the universe what to do, just like you have a balloon in your house. And it can't go anywhere. Just let it go so that you can actually get the car. And then go about your business, and the car's going to show up. Trust me, it's just going to show up. The car can't show up in your house while, it's sitting there on your ceiling and you're following it around telling it what to do, right?
So you're saying there's really this idea of that you really have to let it go. And I know you stress no. You have to know that it's meant to be, or it's in the ethers, and just really let it go.
Well, act as if you've already received. And years ago, before the law of attraction was resurrected the way it was now, there was a book, still is a book, called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Francis Schaeffer.
Oh, yes.
This was 1924, I believe the original copyright was. She outlined in there exactly this. She didn't call it the law of attraction, but that's what it was. And she would say, The Game of Life and How to Play It. Still, actually, I think the heirs must have reprinted it because it is available on Amazon. But the point is, and the book was written from a very Christian point of view, and I thought those were the times, and that's fine. But I think for non-Christians and other believers, they wouldn't really get it. But here, her whole thing was this: you put the prayers out there, and then you just know that God, the Creator, she didn't call it universe, she called it God, and that is just going to hear you and bring you what you want because you are acting as if you already received. And that's my whole thing about the balloon thing. You have to just know. You cannot follow this energy around and put all the way that people are being taught with a lot of attraction is, you have to put this constant energy on it. Well, it can't leave your house if you're following around. It can't go anyplace.
Oh, no. And what I find, too, that you become so electrical, you're like pushing it away. It's like someone that calls you all the time. You repel it. If someone keeps calling you, you recoil back from them. It's like, okay, leave me alone.
It's true. And now you're stalking the balloon. You see,
exactly.
But you're stalking the car. You're stalking the whatever it is you want. You're actually stalking it. So let it go. Let it go. it can't come back to you while you're stalking it, right? You can't get what you want while you're stalking something, right?
Yes. No, exactly. Now, what's your thought on people getting, in a sense, what they're meant to, not on a mainstream or ego personality or conscious or rational mind, but what is within perhaps their soul or their blueprint, what's meant to come through them? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I do. I have a lot of thoughts on that. Here, we plan our lives before we come here, and I just like to tell people this, and I think it really kind of astounds people, but it's true. It's very simple to me. You're sitting up in the holding chamber because life goes on and on, so past lives are really a misnomer, and, you know, we need to really kind of get our whole thought process around multidimensional living. In other words, life happens in multi-dimensions, not just in the earth plane, and it's not just heaven and hell and earth. There's so much more.
Multidimensional.
Right. So we're sitting there in the holding chamber, okay, at one point in our lives, and we're sitting there with our tribe, and the souls that we have agreed to kind of come together with and to learn lessons in love, because that's what it all is about. And so we're sitting there and we're talking, and one person says, we're going to create a drama here on Earth, because Earth is the Earth school where we learn some things, and there are certainly other places where we learn things, but this is our perception, that Earth is, you know, our perception. So, okay, fine. So we're sitting there, and then one person says, I love you so much that I am going to volunteer to come with you down here in your drama, and I want to show up as this way to you. But you're not going to like it. And you say to this person, I love you so much. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for teaching me this lesson in love. And you both sit there and go, you know, we know you're just not going to like it. But it's okay. There's an agreement, and it's about love. And the person says to you, well, I'm just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you get this. It's okay, you say, because I need to learn this. I want to learn this, and I would rather not learn it with anybody but you. Okay, but you're not going to like it. So we forget that when we come here. And so then somebody shows up in our lives, and we have a connection with them. We know we have a connection. And we say, why are you hurting me? Why are you pushing me? Why are you doing this or that? Well, wouldn't it be wonderful if that person would just say, hey, we agreed to this. Don't you remember? I said you weren't going to like it. We just don't remember that. And so we come in here veiled, and we don't remember. But on some level we do, because let's say that person shows up as our boyfriend or our dad or and that goes for men too. I'm not just talking about women, but or our girlfriend, okay? And you say, why does that person act that way toward me?
Mm-hmm.
Because you asked that person to do it. And I really hope that shifts a lot of victim-y kind of energy for people, because it's true. You ask these people to show up. Mm-hmm. You ask them to do it.
It's a form of service, isn't it, in a sense?
Yes, it's out of love that they agreed to do it. They say, you know, you're not going to like it. You know it. And they're willing to kind of play that bad guy in your drama, or the bad girl or whatever in your drama, so that you can learn it. And it's about love, people. It's all about love. There's no power in anything else. It's just not. The power is definitely in the love.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
Now, Dyan, your book, Money and Manifestation, how were you drawn to did you see that as a need, and that's why the co-creation came through? Or? Oh,
Money and Manifesting. Well, you know, here, I had Money and Manifesting in my head for about a year before I wrote it, and I was watching what was happening with the law of attraction. I wanted to see, I had to run its course, because I knew that it was going to run its course, and people were going to ultimately get frustrated with trying to create. Because remember, from the mindset, because remember, the law of attraction is for attracting. It's not for manifesting, and I knew that it wasn't the whole ball of wax. So So I just waited, and I mean, you know, for the when Spirit gave me the light to write it. But you see, years ago in 1993, my Voice of the Angels Healing Journey cards, spiritual cards, were made in 1993, and I couldn't get them to market, and because I was told, oh, we don't, you know, angel channeled messages, that's not marketable. Well, you know, you have to laugh now because you know it is. Mm-hmm. But my point is this: I made this book, the book that goes with the instruction booklet that I have now made out of the book. The book was originally a 350-page book, and in it I incorporated the journal because that's a part of the journal is an important part of the journey. It's not just about journaling about the card readings. It's a transformational journey. Now remember, this is 1993. Well, on the book, I have Voice of the Angels, A Healing Journey, Voice of the Angels, Healing Journey, a co-creation by Dyan Garris and the Angels. Now, in 1993, that was just, nobody even was ever taught. Nobody knew what co-creating was. It wasn't talked about. But this is what they told me to write down on the title, and I still have the book. I hand sewed it together, and it's all yellow now. But that's what they told me we were doing in 1993. We are co-creating. Yeah. Okay. So
I know I've been using that word about that same time. You're right. It's very small. It's not very mainstream or well known.
Exactly.
Like co-creating with who? Why aren't you creating it? Yeah.
That's exactly right, Michelle. It's exactly. And I thought, you know, you're kind of nutty.
Exactly. Yeah, who are you co-creating with?
Yeah, I'm co-creating with voices, you know.
Right, yeah, they get a little worried about you. Yeah.
Yes, what do you mean you hear voices? Yes, if I didn't hear them, I'd be nuts.
Exactly. Now, we have a question here that from Teresa that she'd love to hear Dyan's version.
Okay.
It's you of what you see occurring in the economy, presidency right now, and how, I guess, that we've manifested to this point.
Okay.
Any thoughts of that?
Yes, gosh, I have lots of thoughts.
I bet you're just looking with amusement.
Well, in the early January of this year, I was asked on a radio program to do a program about forecast for the year, and I did. And I actually saw Hillary. I remember saying this. Hillary was supposed to be our president. However, I said, I remember this very clearly. I said, however, Obama, and then, you know, kind of went out into space because I knew that he was going to come to the forefront. Mm-hmm. And we need this. It's not just for change, but it's also for unity. It's for purposes of unity to say, look, we've come so far, and we don't care what color anybody is. And no one does, actually. So it's not about color anymore. And so this is kind of a stepping stone for us to actually to bring that into our mass consciousness, that we actually don't care, and no one does. And so we've come this far. And I can't say no one does, but truly it shows our progress here, that we elected a person and not a color, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So that's the first thing. And then I do feel that this person is, and I didn't follow any of this. I just purposely didn't follow it because I like to just tune in on somebody. So I don't know anything about the debates. I don't know what was said really. I don't really know people's positions, but because then I can get a more clear read on a person. It's like I don't want to see a person's picture before I read for them, or the physical body is not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the spirit. So Obama's spirit, he really has the best of intentions to do this change, to change things for people. And as we go into this ascension period, and I think he's the perfect person to do it, whether or not, because you see, we seem to have this idea that the president acts autonomously, and we know that's not so, but we have that perception that that happens. He needs to have the support of Congress and so on to get his agenda pushed through. And I feel like Hillary's going to have a lot of support in this, but also I'm seeing a lot of frustration in getting it going. So I do feel by March that there are going to be some things that are in place that he's already trying to put in place now, and I feel by March things are going to be we're going to start seeing better. I do want to say this too. Okay, when we're afraid and we pull back and we try to create out of fear, we're just making it worse for everybody. We can't say we're all by ourselves in our own little microcosm. We're not. So, you see, for me, I'm just going about my business. I'm just going about it. I'm not sitting there going, well, I'm scared, about this or that, and I'm just not. I'm going about it as if it's all happening, because it is. And so my advice to everybody is, please stop being afraid, because it's not just about you. It's that this vibe is affecting everybody. And the more you pull back and the more you hold back, how are we going to loosen anything up here?
Yeah.
You're putting it all on one guy to loosen it all up. We all did this co-creatively by our fear, by the stock market fear. Sometimes, there used to be that saying, E.F. Hutton talks and everybody listens. Well, it's like that. There's some guy talks, all of a sudden everybody's in a panic. We have to stop that.
Yes.
On a mass consciousness, we have to stop it. And what I say in Money and Manifesting, too, is that money is energy. Money is not power.
Yeah.
And if we all got to understand that we're giving so much power to these pieces of paper, when really we should be giving power to the power of exchange.
Yes.
If the big cosmic paw came down here and swiped money all away, who are you people? Who are you without your money? And this is what we're trying to learn, this on a group, collective, mass consciousness level. Who are we without our money? That's where we're at.
That's right. I agree. I so agree. I actually had this conversation yesterday and said that's why this restructuring is happening, and we're not, right? We're not our money. And as you're saying, money, it's an energy. Same with emotions, energy and motion. And like you put in the book, if you're blocked in certain chakras, then your energy flows are blocked. And because money is a form of energy, you will very often have a blockage there, or with that form of energy.
You got it. And you know what? I'm telling you, really, let's go back to this. We created money as a form of exchange, and now we decided that it is really powerful. Well, I tell you what, I just know for me, if I lost all my money and I didn't have any money, I just don't care. I'm going to get a tent. I'm going to go get a tent, and I'm going to go from campground to campground. I'm going to go up in the mountains, and I'm going to get my crystal ball. I'm going to do what I do anyway.
That's right.
You see, we're all just who we are anyway. And I want to point this out to everybody, too. You're on your deathbed. Are you really thinking about money? Come on. You are. The last thing you go out of here thinking about is love. It's the first thing you come in with. It's the last thing you go out with. And that's all that is. And so people say, well, yes, we need money to live. Well, actually, we don't. We really just think we do. We think being the operative word, because now we can see how powerful our thinking process is. Our mind chakra is very, very powerful. And so if we think we need money, then so we do. And if we didn't have it, then I want everybody to think about, how do we exchange then? What is our form of exchange? Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, I'm going to exchange with sex, okay? Because that's really root chakra. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that in a funny way, but that's where people's minds go. Well, I don't have money, then I'm going to exchange with sex. Well, that's great, because that's root chakra. But who are you without that? You see, you have to take that a step further. Take that lower base energy and bring it up through your chakras. I didn't say, like, I would go into my tent and become a prostitute. I said I would go into my tent and with my crystal ball and do readings, right? That's from my sixth chakra, you see. So Does that make sense, Michelle?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Well, I think, too, when you talk about exchange, because all we're doing is exchanging energy. Even right now, there's an ideas or exchange of energy. And to me, if people would open it up, and when I want things or put it out there, to God, to Source, my call, I don't always say how I want it to come back or have it manifest, because for me, living abundantly, it could be relationship, it could be a connecting, it could be a car, it could be dollars, it could be money, it could be just feeling better, more energetic, more energy, it could be a trip, it could be, I don't know, it could be a product. I think we qualify too much or focus, like you were saying earlier, Dyan, on this money as the only form of our energy exchange.
That's a good point. And one of the things in the meditation I was telling you about earlier, that magic and manifesting, is that your angel tells you there are many forms of abundance. And we just just happen to be stuck on defining abundance by pieces of paper, but you're right, we have so many forms of abundance. And some of those forms of abundance aren't necessarily, quote unquote, good. I mean, we can have an abundance of bad. But if you're just sitting there, this is the power of the mind. If you're sitting there going, I'm manifesting abundance, well, you didn't really say how you wanted the abundance to show up. So maybe you have an abundance of bad luck, or you have an abundance of troubles. Or you see, you have to learn to co-create, not just go, I want this, I want that, I want this. It's not about what you want. It's about what you're willing to co-create. And you know what? I see something. I saw something in the chat room about Obama again, so maybe we could read it.
Yeah, let's go back. Somebody's talking about, I think Teresa's saying something about trusting in the end result being perfect regardless of how it comes, realistic expectations. There seems to be a fear of that we don't know, which I feel we do know, not the ego personality, but I feel we all know intuitively or psychically. Many of us know where we're going. But so the idea basically she was conveying is that we don't know what's happening in these changes or what the result, the end result is going to be.
Okay, well, here.
Nothing. What's her thoughts about hiding private parts of his life? His citizen? Why not? Everybody else does.
You know what? I actually stay away from that. And I'm not saying that I'm for him or against him. It just is. This is what we have. Yeah. And I can't really put a judgment on what he's done or hasn't done or who he is or what he is. This is what we have. So whoever he is, this is what we're dealing with. And
I also think, too, this is the best form we have to represent the quantum shift.
You got it.
Right?
Yeah, you got it. That's eloquently put, yes. So
I don't know. I agree with you. We don't,
what we have.
I think the thing is, it's the message. We're all great messages, but sometimes as messengers, we all have our little issues. So he's probably going to have some, and they're going to end up coming out,
Right, and I think too, as a society, we build these people up, and then we tear them down. And you know what? No one's perfect. This is a human being that we elected, and certainly he has his issues, and whatever they are, whatever. You're right. We'll find out because it's the way the media is. However, for the good of all, why tear this person down? This is what we have. This is what we elected. This is what we are going to be dealing with. And as far as the other question about fear and trusting and so on, when you are 1 or 2 and you really know nothing about trust, you trust automatically. Somebody taught you, and by your set of experiences, you learned to not trust. But you came in here knowing that, just like you came in here knowing how to create.
You came in with trust then.
You did. You came in, when the baby comes in with the soft spot all open, that's connection to source. And when that starts closing up, the person becomes more seated in their earthly connection, and then kind of that closes up so that they can ground fully into their earthly incarnation. And then now you're learning, you have amnesia and you're learning things, and you're with people that you chose to be with to learn the certain lessons that you already discussed about up in the holding chamber, and now it's the same thing. Here's what you have, and now you have to deal with it. But it's important to just, understand it all as lessons in love. This is truly, and I think that we should support the person we elected, no matter if we like him or we don't, or we're afraid that he's the Antichrist or whatever. It doesn't matter. We have to just deal with what we have.
Yeah. It'll all work out in the greater good.
I believe so. I see that this one is really going to try to bring us back into a place of prosperity, or our version of prosperity. But you know what? It took us a really long time to get to where we are now, and I think on a cosmic level, on a global level, please, everybody, stop being afraid. There's still nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing. And
focus on co-creation. That's what I do.
agree.
Yeah. You get fearful. What can you co-create? What can you,
Yeah.
reach out and touch someone.
Take the circumstances, take the lower always. Let's say that the lower for you is, oh my God, I'm losing this, or I'm losing that, or I don't have this, or I lost my job, or whatever. Take the lower now and use it to transform this into the higher, because that's really what it's about. That's what you've got. So you look at it and go, great, I lost my job, I lost my car, I lost my house, whatever. I resonate with this. I understand this. I do. And I have a great compassion for this. But now, to move forward, the question is this: what are you going to do with that now? That's the question. Are you going to sit there and go, woe is me? Or are you going to say, wait a minute, wait, this happened for a reason. Now, what can I make out of this mess?
Yes.
What can I make out of this flour and water?
That's it.
I mean, what am I going to do here? Fine, go get an egg and mix it up and make some dough, and then make bread, and then you see, and then it just goes from there. But if you're sitting there and you go, all I have is this lousy bag of flour. Well, okay, do you understand how? Then you can say, well, I don't know how to make bread. Well, does your neighbor have a recipe?
Yeah.
Will someone loan you an egg? Do you have some water? I mean, learn to make the dough.
Yeah.
And dough being a.
Absolutely.
And we're running out of time.
Yeah, we're winding down, but I think that's a great. Have to have you back, if you will, again.
I will. I love it.
Great. But to me, what you just last said, is do something with it. To me, that ties into your book, Money and Manifesting. And that's the co-creative process. Instead of getting into fear and getting paralyzed, look and see, like you said earlier, is this my truth? Does this fit in with my truth now? And what can I co-create? What's seeking to come through me? What can I help co-create here?
Right. What am I going to make out of nothing?
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, awakening. Yes, Dyan, this has been amazing. We have been having a wonderful dialogue and chat with Dyan Garris, voiceoftheangels.com, and of course her book, one of them is Money and Manifesting, and you can reach her at www.voiceoftheangels.com or DyanGarris.com, DyanGarris. As always, it's just been a great connecting here, great questions, great energy flow, all of you. And I think on that note, what Dyan said, what can you out of nothing? What can you go make out of nothing? It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Dyan.
Thank you, Michele. It's just been fabulous. Thank you.
Amazing. And we're going to just end with a little bit of your elements of grace again.
Thank you.
All right, all. Until next time.